So, Jeff, what do you have for us?
I got the review of Christopher Nolan's Odyssey from The Economist.
Okay.
Starts like this. The squabbles have been epic. Sir Christopher Nolan's adaptation of The Odyssey was causing conniptions long before anyone had even seen the thing. Ahead of its release on July 17th, there was harumphing over everything from the actors playing Helen, too black, the color of the plume on Odysseus' helmet, too red, the soldier's armor, also too black and too Batman-like, and the vocabulary of Odysseus' son, too American. At one point he says, Dad. On YouTube, the film's trailer was met with criticism. Quote, "If I saw this on a plane, I'd still walk out," reads one disgruntled comment.
Welcome to the Ad Nauseam podcast, where classical gourmands everywhere can finally get their fill. Join us for a delectable discussion of Greco-Roman civilization stretching from the Minoans and Mycenaeans through the Renaissance and right down to the present. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here are your hosts, Dr. David Noe and Dr. Jeff Winkle.
Welcome, Ad Nauseam listeners, to episode 226 of our little podcast here. My name is Dr. Jeff Winkle. I'm down here in the bunker, Parnassus, Vomitorium Central, here with my good friend and excellent co-host, Dr. David C. Noe. David, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, Jeff. Thanks for asking.
Good.
And you, how are you?
I'm feeling good.
You're ready to go back to the trenches of academia, you might say?
I am. Back at it Monday, probably before this podcast airs.
You got your trowel.
I got my trowel.
You got your little Mickey Mouse lunchbox.
Yes, exactly. I got that. I got my thermos.
Galoshes in case it starts to rain.
I definitely got galoshes. I got those plastic bread bags to stick my feet in.
Nice.
Yes, exactly. So I'm set to go.
How's the terrain looking with the incoming undergrads?
The numbers are up. Everything's looking good. It's always you never know what you're going to get when you walk through that door.
Yeah.
But
teaching is like a box of chocolates or something along those lines.
Something along those lines. Yes. So, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready. Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing real well, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing some new teaching actually.
Excellent.
Putting in some time at a local high school.
All right.
Teaching some high school Latin to some fresh, eager minds.
All right.
And I'm excited because I've taught from many different books. I have reviewed, though never taught from, even on this podcast, the Cambridge Latin course.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And I will be teaching from it.
So teaching from it for the very first time.
That's correct.
All right.
And, I could choose a different one maybe, but every good textbook, right, if it's got quality and accuracy, there's something there for me to learn.
Sure.
So I'm excited to see what kinds of places I might go intellectually with this new textbook.
Yeah, so I take this as a textbook that you didn't choose it just for something new. It's just
That's right.
This is the one we use.
Correct. And I can conform, right?
Yeah.
You know me. Why are you laughing?
It's so easygoing.
Yeah,
and
Johnny
adaptable.
Conformity. You're Johnny Pop. I'm Charlie Conformity, as you know.
Right. Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
We are talking about, I've had people ask me about this. Lots of students asking, have you seen The Odyssey?
That's correct.
Christopher Nolan's film. And so this past week, you and I went to see it together.
It was on a Tuesday evening, I believe. It was courtesy of our patron, one Dr. Joshua Coravo.
Very kind of
Yes, who said, I want you two gentlemen, I don't know what kinds of words he used, yahoos, yokels, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I want you to see it in IMAX.
Yes.
So we were in the second or third row, something like that.
Yeah.
Our eyes propped open with massive toothpicks.
That's right, yeah.
And we experienced just a sensory overload.
It's true, yes. And so I finally get to answer the question my students ask, have you seen The Odyssey yet?
Correct.
I can say, yes, we have.
Yes. So thank you, Joshua, for your generous patronage.
Yeah.
And as we were on our way out of the theater, as you remember, scraping popcorn off our chest and Twizzlers out of our noses and ears.
Yeah.
Joshua said something like, what did you think? Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm going to save it for the podcast.
That's right, exactly.
I had a lot to say about this movie, and you people are going to hear it.
That's right. I believe that. In addition to saying, yes, I'm saving it for the podcast, you immediately followed it up with, I got a lot to say about this movie.
I did drop a superfluous compliment, as I'm wont to do. Mm-hmm. I said it was magnificent.
Yeah.
But maybe I meant malevolent. I'm not sure. Maybe I got my terms crossed a little bit.
Magnificent, I think when most people hear that, they say, oh, you mean great.
That's right.
In a very positive sense.
That's right.
It doesn't have to necessarily mean
That's
that.
correct.
Right?
So we'll have to see where that goes. But before we get into it, we have a shout out.
We do?
Yes, we do.
Who does this go to?
This goes to one David Heath.
All right.
And I'm smiling because this gentleman might win the prize in terms of shout outs for volume and enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah.
Just incredible. I've shared with you all the correspondence. Knowing you as I do, I'm skeptical of the claim that you've read all of it.
But Mr. Heath, it was I had to get the Cliff's Notes.
Okay,
because it was so voluminous.
That's correct.
But I appreciate he attached pictures as well.
He did. Yeah. So he says, "I'm so pleased you were inspired to get the first book of Harris's Cicero trilogy because Mr. Heath recommended this to me, and I think I'm going to read it. It's Imperium. By the time you get to the end, you feel for the man. I already felt for Cicero." And it adds an actual layer of modernity to Plutarch's description of those crows betraying Cicero to his hunters. Guy can turn a phrase.
Definitely.
Says Mr. Heath, "I'd love a shout out. I walk around in a toga at work, so don't worry about being merciless. I don't take myself seriously." He says, "I was listening to your last AN podcast a couple of days ago whilst cycling to Regensburg, Castra Regina, site of the oldest stone building in Germany, the Porta Praetoria. In it, I was so gratified to hear Oswaldo's recommendation." Do you remember Oswaldo?
I don't remember.
Venezuela, remember?
Oh, of course. Yes.
Correct.
Yes, I forgot the name.
A brilliant shout out from Oswaldo, railing against leftist government, praising the classics.
And he was having also carb trouble too, wasn't
That's
he?
correct. Well, he was telling us there is an Argo.
That's right.
And what was there is a Kronos.
That's right.
It just devours the road. Anyway, here we have a shout out to a shout out.
Yes. Yeah.
So says
David.
I
think that's another first.
It's a first.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
In it says, Mr. Heath, "I was so gratified to hear Oswaldo's recommendation of Father Most's Latin, the Natural Method. I went through the entire thing straight through and really appreciated how accessible it is. I have all the LLPSI tomes, but find them pretty hard going. I got a class for him. I much prefer using Roman history to learn Latin with the grammar explained," and on and on and on. But he also sent us pictures of himself dressed in his toga, pictures of himself with Roman costumed soldiers, a lovely, lovely cartoon of Jason, the most incompetent hero of all time. So he shares some of our predilections. He teaches, if I'm not mistaken, he teaches at the Bavarian International School and does a crackerjack job there of getting young folks interested in history, ancient history, I guess World War II history. Just an all-around mensch, this fellow.
I bet his students adore him.
I bet they do.
I bet they love him. Yep.
I see him betogaed, besandaled, not bespectacled. His classroom looks like it's amazing. So I could just go on and on about this fellow.
I mean, talk about someone who is keeping the flame alive.
Yeah.
Yes, that is fantastic.
I think he probably has trouble keeping the flame confined. Right. His enthusiasm is burning up the landscape.
Right. Oh,
and he said that he has introduced us to many of his colleagues, and he says something along the lines, I'm going to paraphrase, because the correspondence is so long I can't find it. Right?
Yeah.
He says something like, "You may not have any listeners in South Dakota,
yes,
but you've got a lot of listeners in the place where it really matters, where Latin was a lingua franca."
That's fantastic.
So, Mr. Heath, thank you sincerely.
Thank you so much
for listening and for promoting our ideas, for being a colleague in this enterprise. We're very grateful.
Yes.
Okay, so Jeff, as we get into it, let's begin right at the beginning, and I'd like to hear your first impressions and things that you liked about the film.
Right. So, you described it as magnificent, and I think I definitely would agree with that in terms of this was a huge spectacle. I thought it was really cool to see it on the IMAX screen. I think some of the shots, I think it's one of the things that really kind of hit me between the eyes is kind of the terror of the sea.
Yes.
Right? Not just kind of the raging sea, but these massive vistas where you just see the boat as this speck on this endless landscape of water. It just gave that kind of that sense of isolation, aloneness, being lost.
Yeah.
And I thought that in many ways very, very true to the the predicament of Odysseus' men in the epic.
Right.
And so I thought that the visuals told that part of or kind of gave that vibe very, very well.
So this would be books 9 through 12, I believe, in the epic.
Mm-hmm.
And as I understand, it was filmed on location, primarily in 2025, at some of the following sites. Morocco was the site for Troy, Greece, Messenia, also the Acrocorinth. There were some shots that I even nudged you at one point and said, I think that's Sunian, remember?
Oh, right, yeah.
That may not have been Sunian because it's not mentioned here, but there were many, many sites there that I thought, if I haven't been at that very location, I've been somewhere pretty close.
Yes.
That looks so familiar.
It does. It did. I mean, I thought that was very cool too. It really struck me as that this looks like Greece.
That's right.
Yeah.
Also filmed in Sicily and in Italy. Apparently in Scotland for the Circe scene, which we have to talk about, of course.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Iceland, and finally Los Angeles studio work.
Man, all over the place. Yeah.
Little known fact, Nolan actually called and asked to use the Ad Nauseam studio.
Yeah.
But we thought, we could do that, but we really don't want to overload Mishka with IMAX film editing also.
True, and he could not match our price.
That's true. So you liked the setting.
I liked the setting.
You liked the shots of the wine dark sea and
Yes.
the sun dropping over the horizon.
Right. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't know if it would kind of hit the same on kind of a regular sized theater screen or on my TV at home.
Right.
But I thought it was when the camera took you to those places, I said, "Okay, this is why you see it on IMAX."
Correct.
And it was overwhelming.
Did you enjoy the lingering close-ups of some of the principal actors? There's a little bit too much detail of their faces. I don't want to count their pores.
Well, I think one of the problems, and I think it's an unavoidable problem for Nolan, is that it's a really long movie.
Yeah.
Right. And the only way to tell a story like the Odyssey or try to translate it to the screen, and I should say, I mean, many people have translated the Odyssey to screen.
Mm-hmm.
But to try to do it on kind of a one-to-one, like I am telling this story and I'm going to make it look like it's from ancient. I'm thinking this is not Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
Right.
So if you're going to tell the story and you're going to try to locate it in that world, you have to make a 3-hour movie, at least. And when you do that, I tend to run out of patience with some things. And I think one of those things was a lot of those kind of lingering close-ups. By the time you get over 2.5 hours,
right. I know Anne Hathaway's nose pretty well by now. It's a nice nose. It's certainly nicer than mine.
Right.
But I don't really need to look at it for that long.
Or up it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And maybe that's one of the drawbacks of IMAX.
I don't know.
Those close-ups are massive.
Yeah, they are. That's true.
Now, how about you? About first impressions, or what did you like? What was your immediate sense?
I very much enjoyed, like you say, the cinematography.
Yeah.
I don't like to use that word because it's too trendy.
Yeah.
But there I am using it. Cinematography. Charlie conformity. I liked the landscape. I liked the shots. I liked Telemachus's performance.
Did you really?
I thought Tom Holland, on the whole, did a good job. I have some criticisms, but this is the what we liked part. So I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah.
I liked in some ways the transformation of Circe's men, Odysseus's men into pigs at the hands of Circe.
Yes.
I liked some parts of that, for sure. I overall liked the portrayal of Eumaeus. Overall, okay, I definitely have some strident criticisms.
I have some issues with Eumaeus. All right, yeah.
Overall, it was good. But honestly, that's about all I can think of.
Yeah. No, I think that like in terms of like the performances of the actors, there wasn't one that I thought was a real clunker. Just in terms of,
I have one of those.
It was that it was the acting was so bad that it took me out of the story.
Yes.
One of the things I did, I agree. I thought Tom Holland as Telemachus did very well. I really.
Now, don't stray into what you didn't like, because it's coming,
okay. Sorry. All right.
Next.
No, I thought it was very overall well acted.
Yeah.
I thought in many ways, Matt Damon, I think for what Nolan was trying to do with the story,
right?
I thought he made a decent Odysseus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Saving Private Odysseus is kind of what it was to me.
Well, there were some shots.
Are we ready to transition into what we didn't like? 'Cause we have to both acknowledge this is going to be the longest part of today's episode.
Yeah, right. No, another thing I think that I really liked was the treatment of the monstrous. I thought
you liked that.
Let me qualify that.
Okay.
Right? So I thought there were many things that I didn't like about, say, the Cyclops scene.
Yes.
In terms of particularly what Nolan left out.
Yes.
But I thought the way that the Cyclops was portrayed, with kind of his eye being kind of tilted in the wrong direction.
I did not like that.
And I liked how he was largely kept in the shadows.
That was good.
And so I thought it was a legitimately horrifying scene. Mm-hmm. And I think I'd have to go back and watch it, but you never see the Cyclops for too long. He kind of comes from the shadows. He turns around. You see
Right.
kind of a close up of his giant hand. I
Right.
mean, one of the things that the film was noted for is that Nolan used practical effects and did not use
As
CGI,
much as possible.
As much as possible. And so I thought that in and of itself was very impressive. And so you mentioned Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
I mean, there were some scenes there like on the beach.
It's because Matt Damon, of course, was the star of both films.
But there were some scenes like with the Lystragonians where the beach is littered with bodies.
Yes.
I wondered if Nolan was specifically even tagging that. And I thought that
A kind of homage to Spielberg.
And with the Cyclops scene, with him kind of coming in and out of the shadows, it very much reminded me of Marlon Brando as Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now, which is also a scene which is many have compared to the Cyclops episode. So
Interesting.
I wonder if Nolan was up to some of that kind of shading.
Do you find that appealing?
I do. I like
even superimposed on an ancient epic?
Sure. Why not? All right.
Okay.
And unless it kind of clubs you in the face, like, hey, look what I'm doing.
Right.
That's annoying. But I mean, I have no idea if Nolan was deliberately doing that. But it reminded me of that climactic scene in Apocalypse Now, which is my favorite movie of all time. So I thought that was really interesting. And then also Scylla, where you had kind of the heads come out.
Yes.
You never got a look at the monster
herself,
right? It was these quick, literal snatches,
right?
And then you kind of saw her retreating. Kind of reminded me of the Lord of the Rings of Shelob, the spider, kind of retreating into her lair.
Yes,
and I thought that was, I mean, that's a classic kind of horror movie approach: is keep the monster largely off screen, keep the monster in the imagination of the audience, and in the imagination or out of sight of even the characters.
Sure.
And that kind of raises the stakes. I thought that was really well done.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the performances, if we can.
Sure. Yeah.
As we're going to talk about things we like and didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned a little bit about Matt Damon. If we're going to go beyond performances to characterization, if we could.
Yes.
We both shared this criticism.
Yep.
And that is Odysseus, there's nothing whimsical.
Right.
There's nothing deceptive. There's nothing complicated. We've already taken down as best we could Emily Wilson's translation of Pelutropos.
Right.
I sing the complicated man. But the Damon portrayal of Odysseus, or the script at least, he's completely uncomplicated.
Right. Yeah.
He's suffering from PTSD,
yes.
right, from Troy. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
He feels guilt. There's not a trace in either epic, nor in the tragic tradition, to my knowledge,
right,
that Odysseus feels any guilt whatsoever.
Right.
And I think that makes him a much more interesting character.
Totally agree.
If he's uncomplicated in that respect.
Right. Now, it's one of the things that when I teach the Odyssey, as I do every time I do a mythology class, is that my students hate the fact that he doesn't feel guilty.
Right.
Right. They find that kind of inhuman and kind of monstrous all on its own. But I'm with you is that this is Damon's Odysseus, Nolan's Odysseus, is really one note.
Yeah.
And it bugged me that there's many characters who keep talking about, he was the smartest among us, right? And
right. So there are nods, right, to that, and he figured out the horse, and in the cave he pauses Eurylochus's early attempt to kill the Cyclops. Wait, let's not do that. It points to the rock.
Right.
But it's really underplayed.
It's very very underplayed, and it seems to me to kind of break, one of the first rules of storytelling is you show, don't tell, right? And so there's a lot more talk of Odysseus being smart and clever,
right? That's a good point.
But you never really see it,
and so I understand at a distance, not personally. Part of the payoff of being clever is the joy it brings the person who's doing it.
Of course, right.
That's what I'm told,
yes,
right? And so because Odysseus is so clever, it's not just that he figures ways out, but there's a kind of exuberance, and my mind is working really well. Look what I can do. And maybe yours isn't, Achilles, you dumb brute.
Exactly, right.
There's none of that pleasure in the movie.
No. And in the epic, too, is I think there's when Odysseus exercises his metis, not only are we supposed to kind of see it through his eyes and kind of enjoy it,
right?
But I think it's meant to be reflective of his relationship with Athena, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think in my classes we talk about this, and I say, okay, you try to rid yourself of any kind of modern standards of morality,
right?
And try to answer the question, what makes an action good in this epic, right?
Right.
And we will often the discussion will kind of boil it down to one. The exercise of Xenia, which is all over this film. I mean, they keep calling it Zeus's Law.
Yes,
right.
Not handled well, in my opinion.
No, agreed.
But present.
But it's present, But I think you could also argue that in the epic, the fact that Odysseus is clever, the exercise of Metis is a good in and of itself.
Absolutely.
Right?
Because that's what it means to be human.
Yes, and that is completely absent.
You're right.
I would say from this film.
And there are other characters, right, in the Odyssey who are shadows of Odysseus's cleverness, right?
Yeah.
They're a little bit removed. So there's a kind of a spectrum. Athena obviously laps Odysseus in this regard, and
Right.
it's the motivation for her love for him. But Telemachus shows traces of it.
Yes.
Penelope is maybe Odysseus's equal,
Yes.
and that's mostly missing also. She's kind of if we move on to Anne Hathaway, she's kind of a hapless, deeply bitter person. Now, I didn't mind the bitter notes that were present because that makes it realistic. I just thought it was pushed too far.
Yeah.
It wasn't the notion that aside from, physical intimacy, aside from shared history, what joins husband and wife is their shared brilliance.
Yes. I thought
Completely missing.
Nolan completely shortchanged the Homeric Penelope.
Absolutely.
Right? I think that a lot of people, especially people who have never read the epic before, the assumption is because Penelope is a female character, she's going to be a wallflower, right? And
that she's only a cipher for male passions and misdeeds.
And nothing could be further from the truth, right?
Yes.
In fact, the battle of wits that happens between Odysseus and Penelope in the second half of the epic, which you could argue she ultimately wins with the trick of the bed, right? The night of which of course is not
also completely missing. And replaced. I got to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Replaced by what? Like a number 2 pencil.
That's right.
Which features throughout the film. It's a little lot thing that Sinon had.
Yeah. And the gold brooch thing too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's just infuriating.
So I thought, I mean,
no bed scene.
There's reference to the trick of the loom, right? But it's like it's mentioned and dismissed in about 30 seconds.
Right.
And so I thought I thought Anne Hathaway's performance was fine.
Sure, she's a good actress.
And I think, if I was to look at kind of a cast list of A-list female actors, I say, yeah, why not? That's perfect.
Right.
But I think
because of her presence,
her
height,
her age.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
She could portray dignity, but it didn't really come across.
No.
It was more pettiness.
There was no lightness. In her or in the Odyssey. Now, other things I've read and people I've talked to. Did you ever see the miniseries from 1997?
Yes, I did.
Armando Assante.
Sure.
And I thought I think that certainly today in the days of kind of streaming, and releasing things as kind of multi episodes, maybe that's the better way to do the Odyssey is to do it over say 12 episodes, right? And
like Gone with the Wind or. I suppose that was just a film, but there were in the 80s, late 80s, 90s, there were a lot of episode TV specials. Right?
Yeah.
North and the South, the Blue and the Gray. They were all historical.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think that that would be the better way perhaps to do this. Now, so I've talked to people who say, I saw Nolan's thing and I said, I really, if I had to choose between that and the miniseries with Armando Assante, they would choose the miniseries.
That was Hallmark.
But my issue, of course, with that, I thought that miniseries, as much as parts of it I really enjoyed, I thought it kind of went in the other direction too far. Is Armando Assante's kind of constantly kind of winking at the camera.
I see.
It's too tongue-in-cheek.
I see.
It's too light.
Too goofy.
And so maybe somewhere in the middle, we could find that perfect adaptation. Or maybe I think the better answer is that this is an impossible story to adapt.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about the Tom Holland portrayal of Telemachus? We've talked about it a little bit. Anything else you want to say about that?
I thought that one of the things as stupid as it is as its own archetype or cliche is it was weird hearing American accents. It's like, these things are, you kind of expect a British accent, right?
Right.
Which is silly on its own, right? Descending from kind of the Shakespearean tradition. And so things of this epic weight demand that kind of, Globe Theater
British
accent.
dialect.
And so to hear Tom Holland, as in the opening clip, use the word dad, and some kind of the loose profanity, it took me out of the story.
I was waiting for him to sling some webs on the suitors.
So kind of his baggage as Spider-Man.
Correct.
Did that get in the way? Yeah.
Let's go on to Zendaya.
Okay. Yeah.
Not a bad portrayal of Athena, but I would say a bad writing of Athena. In fact, a very bad writing.
Right.
Leaving her absolutely nothing to do.
Nothing to do, right? And I guess one of the things that I think Nolan I was trying to do, he was trying to kind of keep some tension about, are we supposed to think of the gods here as real, actual divine beings, or this is a figment of Odysseus' imagination? Now, in some ways, the film kind of pushes you towards the latter. We see in that flashback of the sack of Troy, where Zendaya plays a priestess of Athena, and the implication she's beheaded by the Greeks.
That's right.
And so then she shows up as kind of as an aspect of Odysseus' trauma.
So she's a little bit of Cassandra.
Right.
I thought that was a nod to Cassandra there.
Totally.
In the sack of Troy. But yes, it's highly suggestive of she's a figment of his imagination.
Right. Well, and just one thing I would add to is one of the things I didn't like is as much as I really didn't care for the movie Troy either, I thought that that movie did itself a service by saying, okay, we're just not going to deal with the gods at all. Remember, so there's
rather than deal with them poorly.
Exactly, just kind of make it a very kind of human, secularized story. Fine. Here in this story, it's almost like Nolan said, okay, we're going to do the same thing with the gods. There's talk of Zeus.
Yeah.
There's talk of Poseidon.
Constant.
Athena shows up as this figment
Yep.
of Odysseus' imagination. However, you see, you could do that. That's fine. But then you also have these scenes of men turning into pigs.
Right.
You have the Cyclops. You have Scylla and Krypton.
So there are supernatural elements.
You have supernatural elements. On the one hand, I think with the Odyssey, you have to do.
Right.
And then to say that the gods aren't really real, that did not work for me.
Incoherent.
Yeah.
No Hermes.
Hermes.
While Odysseus is approaching the hut of Circe, I kept waiting for him to show up.
With a molly.
So yes. So the question is, does no one have enough imagination to present the Greco-Roman gods on screen in a way that is a mix of terror, comedy, drama? So in one of the Thor movies, Zeus is portrayed by Russell Crowe.
Oh, really?
And I don't care for the portrayal on the whole, but it does make an effort to be Aristophanic. It does make an effort to combine a little bit of dread and a whole lot of pathos and some absurdity.
Yeah.
So you need that in the Odyssey. It drives the plot. The plot does not make a whole lot of sense without, I would suggest, divine motivation.
Right. I totally agree. I thought that was a really poor choice. But I don't know if an epic like the Odyssey is adaptable to film. Is that
going to be the refrain?
Well, I don't know. I like I said, I think that maybe
Okay.
it could be done over 12 episodes on Apple TV.
Kind of like we did Maru. Oh, sorry. Are still working on Maru.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go on to Calypso, can we?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so Charlize Theron, right? Beautiful woman. This is maybe the most disappointing characterization for me in the entire film.
Really?
Absolutely.
Explain.
Charlize Theron, or Calypso, in the Odyssey is frightening, right? She is holding Odysseus captive. He knows everything that's going on in his situation. He's weepy, right? The beginning is he's weeping along the shore. Hermes comes along.
We're talking in the epic,
in the
not
actual
the
epic,
movie.
not
Yes.
in Nolan's edition.
Yes.
In Nolan's edition, Calypso is neither frightening nor appealing. She's basically a therapist who, at the same time, is a drug pusher.
Right.
And I found this just so unsatisfying. Were you not bothered by that? So the lotus flower.
Yes.
Okay, it's brought from a different part of the story and imposed on Calypso.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. I don't mind the mild artistic license.
Yeah.
But there was no sense that Calypso loved Odysseus.
No.
That Odysseus had some mixed allegiances that eventually were overcome by love of home.
Yeah.
It's like he was just a prisoner and completely out of his mind.
Yeah.
So this was not appealing at all.
No, I'm with you. I think your description of I hadn't thought like her as a therapist. That's right on.
Right.
And so
he's on the couch the whole time.
And it was another one of the things where there was talk of something that you never saw. Is that she kept saying we've been so happy. Right. It's been so wonderful. You get no sense of that at all.
It would not be difficult, it seems to me. I've never written a movie script, so it's easy to armchair quarterback.
Yeah.
Can't you include some visual hints or something in the movie about other aspects of their relationship?
Right.
Maybe some old, maybe they're ordering Uber Eats together. They're enjoying some barbecue from some. some domestic scenes
Yeah.
that could suggest physical intimacy.
Right.
Not the food stuff, but you get my point.
Yeah.
Something that shows there's a long relationship here, and Odysseus isn't entirely happy with it.
Yeah.
But Calypso's not his therapist.
Totally. And I think in another one of the ways in which Damon's Odysseus, Nolan's Odysseus, is very uncomplicated, is that he completely sanitized the kind of the adulterous aspect of it.
Right.
And
no relationship with Circe.
no,
at
all. Quite the opposite. And I noticed when again in class when I've talked about kind of Hollywood adaptations of the Odyssey,
Right.
is almost all of them end with suitors are dead and Odysseus and Penelope retreat to the bedroom. Right. And there's no suggestion that he has been unfaithful to her. And so they say in Nolan, I was really kind of surprised that he decided in many ways that yes, I guess you could say, well, the suggestion is that Calypso and Odysseus,
the way she's dressed and where they are and so forth.
But it's
too subtle.
It's too subtle and it's too.
I can't believe I'm saying that, but
it's too bland,
You're right?
And then of course with Circe, which we'll talk about, there's no suggestion of that at all. And I thought that in coming back to Penelope, the film does not end with them falling into each other's arms in the palace.
No.
An aspect of kind of she goes off with him on his final journey to atone for his men or something.
I don't know.
Like
She's like a cheerleader on his cycling victory lap.
which I have not seen before in a kind of adaptation. But
and there's a reason. It's awful.
But the idea is that even Nolan, for all of his gifts as a filmmaker, all the chances that he's taken as a filmmaker, he gives us a pretty watered down, sanitized Odysseus. He does not complicate that really that curious aspect of his character,
Right.
the lusty aspect of his character. All of that is completely buried under his sad sack persona.
Correct.
Yeah.
One of the good things, again, to go back to a good thing, the amount of time spent in the horse.
Oh yeah.
One of the bad things, it seemed to me that at every instance, Nolan thought it was clever to retell the story and defeat people's conventional expectations. Have you ever seen the horse dragged in on its side?
Or half buried in the sand.
Correct.
Sticking kind of straight up.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, why did he do this? The only conclusion I can draw is the horse is dragged in on its side to defeat viewers' expectations.
Yeah.
Because you've seen it brought in as kind of a toy.
On wheels.
Right. And of course, one of the most fascinating aspects of the story as it's told is that the horse was slightly wider than the walls, so the walls had to be partly disassembled.
That's right.
Why can't Nolan include that lovely little detail
I know.
visually? It would take 5 seconds of screen time.
Right. Yeah, and also to make another comparison with the movie Troy, I thought the horse in Troy appeared much more believably as something that was made from abandoned ships.
Yes, this looked like it was made out of paper mache.
How'd they do that head?
It was incredible. and I just don't see the point of it. It was something that would appear in Gotham or Metropolis.
Right.
Not in the ancient world.
Right.
So there's on the one hand a strong desire to make it realistic in terms of setting and clothing somehow.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, not.
Yeah.
Another example of that is something that you liked, which is that the orientation of the Cyclops' eye is turned on the vertical.
Yes.
And I didn't like that at all. Because again, the only reason I could think of why he's done this is that no one else has done it.
Maybe I still thought it was done for kind of a horror effect. It's uncanny, it's unsettling, and I thought that was an interesting visual choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let that go. We can talk a little more about characterizations. What about Robert Pattinson as Antinous?
Not bad. I thought he did an overall decent job.
Too young.
Too young to be Antinous. Agreed. I thought how we see him kind of descend into cowardice.
Yes.
At the end, where he's basically kind of telling people what to do rather than participating in the battle.
So he's a coward all along.
Yes.
But it gets revealed at the end.
Yes, exactly. I thought so too.
I
thought that was very. I bought it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way that he died, because the way that Homer tells it is far better.
Just
arrow in the throat.
Somebody else gets an arrow in the throat.
Yes, but not the right guy. And he's not drinking wine at the time.
Right.
So in the story, the guy with the arrow in the throat, the wine comes out at the throat. And I'm just befuddled.
Well,
how does here's my main criticism. Can I lay it out?
Please, yeah.
how does Nolan think he's wiser than Homer? I just don't get it.
Right.
Right. The reason that people still want to see a movie called The Odyssey is that Homer wrote something magnificent, and it's almost 3,000 years old now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The idea that Nolan could improve on it even slightly is, to me, just astonishing hubris.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, I think in terms of Antinous and the death of Antinous in the film, I think that Nolan was handcuffed by a Hollywood convention. I think in the epic, I think it's shocking to see Antinous dispatched in that way, and he's gone. Right? Arrow through the throat while he's drinking wine. He has in that moment, he has no clue what's happening.
Correct. No tiny threads are tied up. It's just it.
It's just it. And I think that I think a test audience would say, "Whoa, this guy's our black hat villain. He can't just go out like that."
But doesn't that make for better storytelling?
Agreed.
If you want to defeat people's expectations, don't defeat them by dragging the horse in on its side.
Agreed. Yeah.
Defeat them by telling the story the way Homer did.
I think that it would have. I don't think it would have played with test audiences. I think you could get away with the horse thing.
Poor Nolan. Is that what you're saying? He's just bound. He was bound by audience expectations.
In that case, and I think in that sense, yes. I think in the same way like we were just saying about keeping Odysseus, kind of his affairs, at best mildly suggested on screen. I think there too, Nolan is handcuffed. I think that an audience would have rebelled against an Odysseus who was kind of just running around and indulging himself as well as trying to get home. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Lupita Nyong'o.
Okay.
The Helen of Troy, Clytemnestra. Comments?
I mean, not a ton of screen time. I know that people made a big kerfuffle of this. I mean, I want to say, I think I talked about this when we did the Troy episode too, is it does not bother me when, when a filmmaker trying to make an adaptation doesn't stick to the script exactly, right?
No.
And two, doesn't kind of have to have everybody kind of look alike and kind of play into kind of expected notions of who should be playing who. No. Myths are meant to be at least on the edges adaptable and malleable. That's why we keep telling these stories. Sure. And so I thought she did fine. I thought I really liked the menacing nature of Menelaus. I don't know who that actor is, but
John Bernthal. He's the one that ruined the movie for me the most.
Really?
Absolutely.
I mean, I thought it was a great scene where he could do some mustache twirling and scenery chewing. And what didn't you like about that?
His accent. I think that Brandon Gleeson.
Brandon, who's that? What?
Oh, he was Menelaus in the Troy movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think he was much better. How was he portrayed? How is Menelaus portrayed in the Odyssey? Basically, in the Iliad, basically
a hot-headed brute.
Yeah, you think so?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, right? And so, I mean, in the Odyssey, he's portrayed as Helen's keeping him drugged.
Correct.
Right? And kind of keeping him in a stupor. I think that would have been an interest to follow that.
Calypso and Odysseus.
Right. Yeah. But I thought that I think we got a very Iliadic.
He's got a Brooklyn accent or something.
Well, why not? If you're gonna have Tom Holland saying "Dad," I think you can have Menelaus.
But make some choices and stick with them. Where's the consistency?
It was a Spartan accent.
You liked it.
I would say I did not mind it. I thought it was entertaining. I'm still. Well, no, we can talk about this later. I still have no idea what was happening at Pylos and where we're supposed to imagine that being.
Yeah. So Pylos is Nestor, right?
Yeah.
But when they show up there, who shows up? It's
I couldn't tell you.
It's Telemachus and Mentor, right? It's like they're trying to get a table at TGI Fridays with the someone meets them at the door and she shows them to. I like the Helen portrayal.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's too much remorse. Some remorse is good. I think her remorse was overdone.
Well, I think
there's a little bit of disturbing nature to her portrayal, which is good. There's a quick flash to Clytemnestra, right? Who's the same character.
Yes.
They were sisters, not twins, but that's okay. I don't mind that slight modification.
Yeah. No, I think like the Menelaus and the Helen that we get in the film is more drawn from the Iliad. The hot-headed Menelaus, who is decidedly not red-haired in Nolan's
That's right.
version. And then the
shaved bald.
The remorseful Helen is like the Helen from the Tecoscopia in the Iliad, right?
Yep.
Where she's mourning of that
book 3.
All these people are dying because of her.
That's right.
So I didn't mind that, and I thought Lupita Nyong'o's portrayal was just fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of a view from the walls,
Yeah.
it is time for the ads.
Okay. This episode of Odd Navseam is brought to you by Ratio Coffee. Man, Dave, I was away on vacation for a week.
In the Great North?
In the beautiful northern wilds of Michigan. And it was great.
Okay.
However, what I missed every single morning was my Ratio 8.
That's right.
Yep.
And your very reliable, very simple coffee routine.
Yes, exactly. And the place that we stayed had
Don't even tell me.
Dak and Blecker.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's something you might find at the Barkle Beanery.
Oh, man.
And it was squirty. It was plastic, Kindle bricked.
That's like being trapped on an island with Calypso, trying to get you to remember your past.
Yes, exactly.
Process your emotions.
Right. So I stood there. I mean, one of my jobs was making the coffee for everybody in the morning, and I made sure that I had to add the absolute first cup before that thing could roast on the scorch pad.
Otherwise, it was all dregs.
Exactly right.
Is there some way to fix that, Jeff?
There, of course, is some ways that you can go to ratiocoffee.com. And listeners, check out this website. Check out this wonderful company and their great products. The Ratio 8, the flagship, the younger brother, the Ratio 6, and then more recently now the Ratio 4, which is kind of the office desktop model.
That's right.
All
very
these,
attainable.
very attainable.
Yeah.
And if you want if you want the 6 or the 8, you want to kind of invest in your coffee game, can't recommend it more. These wonderful machines they're simple in their operation. You hit the button, you go through the 3 stages. There is no roasting Kindle brick. It is a pour over.
Yeah, automatic
machine.
pour over with the Fibonacci head.
That's what it is.
The metallic veins.
Yeah.
Off gassing of all of the CO2.
Indeed.
Into the biosphere. Some of that CO2 is probably carrying Odysseus home to Ithaca as we speak.
Right.
So you're sold, basically.
I'm sold. Yes.
Okay.
So listener, you should be too. So go to ratiocoffee.com/adnauseum. And pick out the machine that you want. And if you enter this coupon code, ANRatio2026, Dave, that will get them
$20 off the machine of their choice, plus the satisfaction of promoting the Ad Nauseum podcast. Check it out. This episode of Ad Nauseum is also brought to you by the good people at Hackett Publishing. Stanley Lombardo has translated many excellent epics, including the Iliad, the Odyssey, and the Argonautica of Apollonius of Rhodes.
Right.
So if you've watched the movie by Christopher Nolan and you've listened to this episode, or at least half of it now, and you're thinking, I'd like to read the epic for myself, I want to see what it's all about, then go to hackettpublishing.com, HACKETT, check out their wide catalog of classics plus many other wonderful books. Then you're going to want to enter a coupon code at checkout once you've put some things in your shopping basket. As you build your library, Jeff, what is that coupon code?
That coupon code is very simple. It is AN2026. It's AN as an Ad Nauseum plus the current year. And that will get you 3 wonderful things.
Okay, can you just list one of them, please?
Yes, it'll get you 20% off your entire order.
Okay, can you list the second one?
Yes, it'll get you free shipping.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you. I'll list the third one.
Please.
And that will get them also the chance to support this podcast. Show the world that you're taking in the classics.
And keeping them down. All right, Dave. So as we get back into it, let's look at some more portrayals.
Okay.
Let's talk about Eumaeus.
All right.
You said, I think before the break, that you liked the portrayal.
Some things about it I liked very much. Other things I did not.
John Leguizamo.
Okay.
Yep.
Good actor.
He's all right, I guess.
Okay. I didn't like the fact that he was portrayed blind.
I didn't like that either.
I think the reason is that some people have said that the son of Eumaeus is actually Homer.
Oh, okay.
The old tradition that that Homer, right, the character who wrote this down, was Eumaeus' son and got the story from his father.
Right. He's the one character in the Odyssey who gets that personal you, right?
Yes.
In the Greek.
That's
right.
right.
And so that's an affection for him.
An extremely sympathetic and fascinating character in the epic.
Yeah.
Less so here.
Yeah.
And I would say part of it is because he's blind.
Yeah. I didn't like that they kind of turned him into like a sensei.
I didn't like that either.
So he's sitting there, like, though he's blind.
It's all too much Karate Kid.
It's very Karate Kid. It was Mr. Miyagi.
That's right.
And he's blind, but he's helping Telemachus with his sword fighting technique.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, silly.
Yeah.
Plus, they started him out in the palace
Yes.
instead of away from the palace,
Right.
which is a bad idea.
A bad idea, right?
Not only that, but one of the sweetest reunions is between Eumaeus and Odysseus
Yes.
as a preliminary to the reunion between Odysseus and Telemachus.
Right.
The reunion between Odysseus and Telemachus was handled okay.
Yeah.
That recognition scene where they're on the steps or
Right.
something.
Right. Yeah.
They're on their way into the theater. I don't know what it is exactly.
Right. And even
into
there,
the temple. It was at Pylos, right? At the temple.
right? And even there, it wasn't a full. It was like, hey, it was not. It was not a recognition
Exactly.
engineered by Athena, right?
No. Plus, it's missing all emotion because in the Odyssey, they fall on each other. And there's a great epic simile. They cling to each other's necks.
Yes.
And they cry for something like an hour.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying because you think, how do you express this father-son love after 20 years? The film doesn't make much of an effort to do that.
No, it's
Make some effort.
Exactly. It's treatment of kind of recognition scenes with Telemachus, with Euryclea, with Penelope, with Argus the dog.
That's
I
right.
thought it was interesting that they included that aspect.
Well, they could have done so much better with it.
Yeah, it was very kind of haphazardly treated.
Right.
Whereas in the epic, that becomes kind of the narrative signpost. Okay,
They're all
who's
crucial.
Who's going to recognize him next? And it's building
Yes.
up towards Penelope, and then ultimately building up to Laertes,
Right.
which of course is his father.
He's not in the play at all.
In
Sorry,
the movie at all. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so I didn't care for that. What did you think of Eumaeus?
My main complaint was just he seemed to be kind of a hodgepodge of different things.
Mm.
The blindness aspect made me think: are we supposed to see him as prophetic?
Yeah.
And I think you're mentioning of the tradition of him linked to Homer. That I think that answers that question. And turning him into Mr. Miyagi.
Correct.
I thought that was just dumb. Right.
I agree.
Yeah.
The bard,
I thought that too was very frustrating too. You had
the three taps.
he's three taps, and then he would say a few things.
Why not give him a guitar, right?
Yeah.
He strums a lyre, right? And again, I think, so if you want to be innovative, why change the things that don't matter and make the play worse? Make the story worse.
Right. So yeah, he taps his staff 3 times, and then he utters some very non-poetic lines.
I've forgotten what it is now.
Yeah,
like the fleet, the something. And
yes.
Can't even remember.
I don't know. Why not? Why not keep the lyre? Why not kind of keep that just kind of core aspect of to it? There too, I think what you said before about bucking convention just for bucking convention's sake was probably,
I guess,
part of the thing there.
It's not a clear improvement in any way.
No.
Let's talk about Circe in that episode.
Yeah.
So this is the actress Samantha Morton.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was a great portrayal, although there's nothing in it of the physically appealing, or very, very little.
Right. No, I totally agree. So again, the completely removing any kind of sexuality from Circe was clearly a deliberate choice. I thought what was interesting is that she's really one of the only main characters that displays Metis. Is that when the soldiers come upon her,
you're right.
She plays dumb. She plays weak.
You're right.
Right. But of course, if you know the story, and then of course, if you don't know the story, you see where it goes. You say, oh, this was a setup the whole time. And
so there was some subtlety in the storytelling.
Yep.
They pass a lion. They pass a tiger. They pass a leopard or a jaguar.
Yeah.
I don't know which it is.
Right.
And these are hints that there's something strange going on here.
Mm-hmm.
He shoots one of the deer, and it turns out that it's a human being.
Guy. Yeah.
So there was some subtleness of storytelling. I just wish more of the movie were like that.
Yeah, I agree. And then finally, when Odysseus enters her hut, I thought the portrayal of kind of the ramshackle hut I thought was really kind of interesting and weird. She's very much kind of the archetypal witch in the woods.
Yes, that was filmed in Scotland.
Yeah, and I thought that again, the atmosphere of the scene was really quite cool. And I did think something that struck me as kind of Homeric was when you see Odysseus and Circe at the table, and they're talking. I thought Samantha Morton did a great job of we can say, okay, maybe she's not physically attracted to this man, but she is taken in by him.
True.
So she was fascinated by him.
But then she gives this pacifist speech about how the horrors of war, you and your men have gone around the world raping and pillaging. So her motivation is completely different from what it is in Homer.
Right.
And not just different, but worse.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
To I guess, pile on to Odysseus that you think you're the hero, but you're really the monster because you've caused so much havoc.
Right. I mean, I like that the Odysseus character pushed back against it rather than just kind of let that sit there.
Right.
Maybe because the idea, when she's turning the pigmen back into men, she's saying back into your disguises, back into your disguises. So the idea
That's a clever line.
So from her point of view is that, well, men are pigs. That's
exactly.
That's what their nature are. And I thought that it would have been very easy for Nolan to let that sit there and make it some kind of like, angry feminist point.
Well, I think there was a little bit of that.
Of course, right. But Odysseus kind of counters basically saying, you have no idea what these men have been through.
Yeah.
Right. And so I thought it was more balanced than I thought it would be.
I wouldn't mind the minor feminist point if it's countered a little bit by Odysseus showing some more complexity other than just being kind of a beaten upon all the time.
Exactly.
Because he's such a warmonger, I guess. And then the trick for getting him out of the situation is he grabs the raven or the crow in the cage,
which is her sister,
which is supposed to be Circe's sister, and he basically threatens, I'll fricassee this, right? I'll kill this bird if you don't let my men go.
Right.
How is that superior to Hermes meeting him and giving him a magic herb?
Right.
How is it superior to him physically threatening her
with a sword?
Yeah, and them having some kind of sexual chemistry that eventually ends because he loves his men more than he loves whatever Circe's offering.
Right.
How is this bird thing better?
After staying there
it's not better.
Staying there for an entire year.
Yes.
Right? So I mean I thought that would have been great.
That's
way
right.
to complicate Odysseus' character.
Right.
Is that there are there's two sides of him. He loves his men, but he's got an opportunity to learn.
Correct.
Right. To ask questions.
That's right.
And take this opportunity. And if it takes him a year, he's going to take it.
That's correct. Yeah. He still really wants to get home, but he puts it on hold.
Right.
So you could have had the audience filled with both cheering for Odysseus, identifying with maybe base motives, but also being really frustrated with Odysseus.
That's what makes the epic so brilliant.
Leave already and go save your wife and son. What are you doing?
Right.
But we miss all of that completely because I think the entire Circe scene, it's maybe 2 hours total. I'm saying in terms of the narrative time.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that whole thing takes 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. If that. Right. Exactly.
Awful.
Right. So, I mean, again, when you're telling a story of this nature in a limited space and time on screen, you have to collapse things. But I thought as we were sitting there in the theater, I forget what the scene was, but you whispered to me and says, "We need a montage here." Right? You could have had some kind of montage on Circe's Island that suggested the passage of time.
Yes, you could.
Right?
Subtle little visual cues.
Yes, exactly. His men rolling their eyes.
That's right.
It's like, looking at their watch.
There's just nothing like that. It's so heavy. What about the Lastrygonians, the giants with the special armor and so forth?
I thought it was dumb.
Okay.
I thought, I mean, it was kind of another visual spectacle. I don't think we ever hear them named as the Lastrygonians.
No.
It's just this weird island with men in steel-plated armor.
Mm-hmm.
My thought was, okay, cut the Lastrygonians and give me the Phaeacians.
Right.
Or it just seems so unnecessary to me, right?
And how about the siren scene?
Also,
the wax is fine. He's lashed to the mast.
Right.
But the song, there's nothing appealing to it. Apparently,
no. It sounded like my kids when they were learning the recorder.
Oh yeah,
right.
No, but I mean, how Nolan's Odysseus describes it as well.
Remind me.
It's something like it's every wicked thing you always wanted and never did.
Yeah.
Every sin you committed but wished you hadn't, something like that.
Right.
There was nothing beautiful about it.
Right. And again, if you look at you get kind of a foggy glimpse of the sirens. I think Nolan kind of fell into the in kind of the typical portrayal where the sirens are portrayed as kind of come hither.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is how they are mostly.
Well, but if you look
in the Odyssey,
in the Odyssey you never see them.
That's true, but they're surrounded by heaps of skeletons.
Yeah. And if you look at the, Homer gives us the Song of the Sirens, and they basically kind of offer Odysseus two things. And they offer him, we can sing your song.
Mm-hmm.
We know all the things you did at Troy, and they claim to know all the secrets of the world, right? And so they tap into Odysseus's the first part. They tap into kind of his ego.
Yes,
we can sing your epic tale. And two, they tap into his deep curiosity.
Yes.
Right? And really...
But he apparently has none.
Neither of those things really exist in the broken Odysseus on screen.
Right.
And so they becomes kind of a song of regret.
Yes.
I don't know. It didn't work for me. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Starship when we started to...
At that point in the movie, I could have used a little.
You could have used a little bit of that.
yeah.
So then we Cattle of the Sun, Apollo's cattle.
Yeah.
On the whole, pretty well handled.
Agreed. I thought
and surprising.
And I wonder how they did that. Well, they were going to do that because the interesting thing is that I think Odysseus, he tells his men, listen, if you do this, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
And whereas a big part of Odysseus' men's problem with him in the film is that he knows things that he doesn't tell them, and that we see that in the epic too, right?
So maybe a little tiny bit of Matus.
A little, I guess so, right? Because he and I thought Nolan, Odysseus has to make these horrible choices.
Yes.
So if we're going to get home, he knows he's going to lose 6 men to Scylla. Right. And what else can you do? And so that weight.
There could have been a tragic moment there, though, which would have made him appealing.
How would you draw some? I mean, at that point in the film, how would you draw comedy out of it?
Well, at least it wasn't 7. I mean, doesn't that capture a little bit of Odysseus's? I'm going to do what I have to do,
right?
But
a little darkly comic.
Correct, but it's not like I'm enjoying this.
Right.
Instead, it's just so much drudgery of emotion from Odysseus.
Right.
And it needs to be alleviated a little bit.
Yes.
So when I was reading the Odyssey with Jack Holtzmark, he said, unlike the Iliad, I've said this before on the podcast, every 20 lines or so in the Odyssey, someone is either eating or weeping.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's such a domestic epic.
Right.
And so much of that lightheartedness is missing.
It's gone.
From the film altogether.
It's so heavy. But to get back to Helios's cattle, I thought it was interesting is that it's the one scene with his men where Odysseus tells them everything that he knows.
Right.
He tells them that aspect of Tiresias' prophecy. And I thought the way they handled it and how we see the men kind of out of desperation kill and eat the cattle anyway. I thought that was well done. It was like his men get so desperate they say, "We don't care.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care that if this." Or they're so delirious that they don't believe it anymore. I thought that was
pretty good.
That was pretty good.
But they're shown as fools ultimately who deserve their own fate.
Right.
Unlike the suitors, are we ready to land in Ithaca?
Sure.
We want to get to that part. I mean, we could talk about a few selected reviews. Here's one from Kyle Smith of the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
Nolan's vision is, quote, broad, deep, ambitious, and aglow with awe for our cultural wellsprings. Set pieces are, quote, marvelous, even glorious. Some Ithaca scenes fall flatter. What do you think?
As we're sitting here, aside from Pattinson, I'm struggling to really remember a distinct other suitor that stood out.
There was Iris, right?
But Iris
who turned out not to be the guy in the boxing match, who turned out to be a priest.
A priest
who ambushes him at Pylos. Exactly.
Right. So I thought that was dumb. If you're gonna do Pylos, give me a Nestor.
Give me a Nestor, the garrulous old man who can't stop talking. Now that guy could have a podcast.
Absolutely.
4 or 5 hours.
I thought that whole scene with Pylos was just
You're right.
Stupid.
Nestor could be played by Joe Rogan with a fake beard.
Just talking nonstop.
Correct.
But I mean, you had a lot of those feasting scenes in Odysseus' hall where the men, they're banging their wine cups and they're yelling and they're gross and they're debauched.
But they don't have any kind of organization. They don't have any kind of. They're just too flat to be interesting.
Too flat. I mean, I liked the scenes with Antinous and Penelope. I did like that Nolan kind of brought.
You did.
Well, what I liked was not necessarily kind of the scenes themselves, but I liked that Nolan kind of tapped into that very practical argument that the suitors could make. Say, listen, he's been gone 20 years. He's not coming back.
Right.
We need a king.
Time to move on.
Time to move on. And that's even if it's buried under all other ulterior motives,
including Penelope's feminist speech about why can't a woman rule?
Right.
That just seems so out of place.
Yeah. But I think that kind
I
of
have
thing
no problem
is
with,
to be expected.
Okay, I have no problem with women ruling, honestly, in civil government. But why impose that on the Odyssey?
Right.
I don't see the.
Yeah.
I don't see the point.
Yeah.
Richard Brody, The New Yorker. I think you'll like this. Viewers unfamiliar with Homer may enjoy it most due to a more pervasive absence, the gods. Damon plays Odysseus as a gruff, practical tactician, rather than something more energetically inventive and morally dubious.
Yeah.
That's exactly my criticism.
I think that's a great review. I tried to, as I was watching it, kind of dissociate myself from watching this as a classicist, and say, you know, how would a newbie who had never heard of this story before,
Right.
you could say, oh, it's a good action film, right? Lots of cool scenes, but with zero expectation for nuance on the part of the character of Odysseus. Yeah.
What a wasted opportunity.
Yeah.
So shall we get to the closing scene? By the way, did you like the idea that Penelope was actually a little bit in love with Antinous, or a little bit attracted? That moment they almost kiss.
Yeah.
Is she just leading him on for self-preservation, or is she about to give in?
I liked it. I thought that complicated her character in an interesting way. I would have rather have complicated her character and make her kind of more complex and clever,
Scheming,
like we see her in the in the Odyssey, the scene where she tells the beggar, you know, her dream,
right?
And she's kind of she steers the whole action towards the contest of the bow,
right?
I mean, she announces,
and she suspects that the beggar's Odysseus, but there's no way she's going to let on.
Right. That's brilliant. So I thought that making her kind of almost tip over in that direction, I thought it made her less two-dimensional.
Okay,
yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I didn't. We want to talk about the end.
Yes, there are a couple odds and ends to cover, but let's talk about the end.
Right. I mean, I like that Nolan kind of included in Tiresias' prophecies is that, you know, even once you've taken care of business at home, you still have one more journey.
The blood feud.
It's different than it is in the epic.
Yep.
But I like that Nolan says, you know, the ending isn't the ending.
Right.
I didn't like that it becomes kind of this couple's getaway. You know, where Penelope, they kind of recall that conversation, like, you know, getting the Airbnb in Spain and
nice,
and they sail off together. I thought that was kind of
matching bathrobes.
Right, exactly.
People who have been apart for 20 years and suffered as much as they have, is that what they're going to be thinking about? Cutesy stuff? I don't think so.
No, exactly. Right. Or you know, getting in Odysseus. Is she getting on a boat with Odysseus for the? I don't know. I just thought it was
right.
He tried to kind of, I think, extract some kind of romance. He wanted to show that they were still in love. And I think Hollywood convention.
Better ways to do that.
If Odysseus said to Penelope, "This is great, but I got to go off on another journey."
Yep.
That as a Hollywood way of storytelling, you can't do that.
So once again, poor Nolan is just captive to Hollywood expectations.
He is. Now, I'm not saying he had to go in that direction, but I think in some ways he had to kind of keep some kind of modern, conventional ways of telling the story without completely alienating a non-Homeric audience. Yeah. And most of his audience has never read this book.
So how come in the battle scene, the fight scene, how come Odysseus fights absolutely alone? How come there's not Eumaeus? How come Telemachus doesn't get to do battle?
Hated it.
How come there aren't the other various players? How come the maids are not hung? So they do kind of try to portray that the maids are in cahoots with.
Oh, at least Melantho, the one.
That's right. But on the whole, don't bring it up if you're not going to do a good job with it. Just leave it out.
No modern one-to-one adaptation has ever dealt with the hanging of the maids. They will not touch it.
That's fine.
But I guess when Nolan kind of has Melantho, you know, having an affair with Antinous, and when Penelope kind of shoves her through the door and says, "You belong in the slaughter hall." Right?
That's right.
That's a nod towards it.
I appreciate that. Right. But Odysseus doesn't have to fight by himself.
No.
Telemachus is up above trying to figure out what to do.
And then you have Melanthius like shoving spears through a hole in the ceiling. And then with Odysseus fighting alone, it just turns into a Bruce Lee kung fu movie, right? Like the one martial arts guy kind of taking on a room, right?
Which isn't far from the truth, but it's far enough to make it less interesting.
Totally.
Include the other persons who are fighting, and then at the end he spares some of them because of what? Why does he decide to spare some of them? There's been enough killing. No, you got to kill them all.
You got to kill them all.
108.
And then Euryclea has to smear herself with blood and chortle.
That's right.
That's
yeah. So I didn't understand the ending.
Yeah.
A few just odds and ends as we wrap up.
Yeah.
I didn't like this dialogue. I didn't like Penelope saying at one point to Telemachus, "So the rumors are true. Our civilization is collapsing."
The worst. That's one of the things I hated the most.
I started laughing out loud in the theater. I hope nobody noticed.
So just as for audiences that are not familiar with this, is that looking at the Trojan War and the aftermath of the Trojan War through a historical lens, it's often been the Trojan War famously takes place around 1200 BC.
Yep, 1183. Something
and
like
we
that.
know that around that time there is this broad collapse in the eastern part of the Mediterranean,
the Mycenaean palace system.
Right, and Greece plunges into this roughly 400 years of a dark age, right? And so to have Penelope, and Penelope's not the only one. It's talked about our civilization is collapsing.
That's right.
So to have these characters kind of say, well, we see this coming on the horizon.
Right.
And I think even Odysseus kind of, he alludes to the dark age that's coming.
Well, what he says is, so it turns out that we're the sea peoples. That was another highly comic moment.
So that did not have to be in
I don't know
movie.
where Nolan got this idea, but from archaeological remains and so forth, from the Hittites, from lots of different places, there are these sea peoples. And one Egyptian chronicles, I understand, too. One of the theories is that the sea peoples were the Mycenaeans who overwhelmed the Minoans and other cultures. So it's not devoid of historical linkage, but it's very, very clumsily handled.
And just the fact that these characters would be so prescient to kind of know that this is coming. It was so. I thought it was handled so clumsily.
Bungled.
It did not need to be there. And the whole idea that the sea peoples have been us all along. It's like we have seen the monster. And
Exactly.
The monster is us.
So the last thing I want to talk about,
Yeah.
maybe you have a couple other items. What did you think about the portrayal of Tiresias, the blood sacrifice, the souls coming up? I'm going to guess you liked it, and I'm going to not like it. But there's some nuance there.
I thought it was suitably creepy, as a scene in Hades should be. I thought visually it wasn't all that interesting.
Exactly.
I thought that it really looked like, if you zoomed out, it's another sea scene.
You're right.
Right? I thought like Hades, it should have a much more kind of, I don't know what I would have done, but it should have been
something surprising.
Something surprising and distinctly different.
There's no levels. There's no Tartarus. Right. There's no Ixion on his wheel.
Right.
There's no
encounters
Tantalus.
with. Well, I mean, he sees Agamemnon down there.
There's no encounter with Achilles.
Which I think is the key scene in the whole epic.
Of course.
Right.
It's better to serve above than reign below.
Yes.
So I thought that the blood and the souls coming to drink the blood, that's a nice touch. It's close to what Homer says.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it has to be close to what Homer says in order to be good.
Yeah, agreed.
But pick the good parts. Right. But what's completely missing is the whimsy and the interesting curiosity. Odysseus wants to see all the women in the underworld.
Yes.
And there's just one woman after the next, including the backstory of Oedipus and Jocasta.
His own mother?
Yes, all of Zeus's loves. And so that makes it a very interesting place. He meets Hercules, and then eventually he has to get out because the souls come after him.
Yeah.
Now, when the souls come after them here, it's just another fight scene.
It's the Laestrygonians chasing him down the beach again.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, totally
very
agree.
Disappointing.
Right. Yeah, some of the visuals I thought were striking. I thought kind of Tiresias kind of emerging half from the mud as a kind of zombie.
Yeah, to me it was Cadmus and the Spartioi at Thebes, right?
Oh yeah.
It was drawn.
Right.
It was drawn from that. People coming up out of the soil.
Yes.
And too monochromatic. The whole thing was monochromatic.
So kind of gray and black.
Exactly.
Yeah. One very minor nitpick. Did it bug you that when that the Odysseus men, often when we see them sailing, they're sailing in full armor with their helmets on?
Oh yes.
It's just an added safety feature.
Well, and apparently, it's a Viking ship. It's not an attempt to make it look like realistic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that kind of stuff doesn't really bother me. I mean, often those kinds of movies are kind of a hodgepodge to make it look ancient-y.
That's correct.
Right. So,
but if Nolan is truly this fantastic filmmaker, and he made all of these efforts in some ways, location, why did he stop short on some other things? That bothers me.
It does. It does not. It seems to be just kind of difference for the sake of it.
Right.
Of itself.
Kind of random.
Yeah.
If you could summarize the experience, in one phrase, one sentence.
I'll give it a rating. I'd give it a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
4. Yeah. I mean, I think the striking visuals as kind of an experience of being kind of overwhelmed by the visuals and sound was enough for me to bump it up to a 4. But in terms of its adaptation of Homer, I thought he missed the boat.
Yeah.
And so I also made me think of things like "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" And I thought that if you're going to adapt,
which caught the boat,
it's if you're going to adapt in ancient story, I think the best way to go about it is to completely remove it out of its place and time,
change the setting,
and keep the Homeric elements,
right? But
tell the story in its own fashion somewhere else. Yeah,
tell the story by capturing its spirit and its intent. So Clooney, right? Vane with his Dapper Dan pomade in his hair. vain, fast-talking, lies to his closest friends about the buried treasure.
Yep.
It's so on.
Right.
Then you have Holly Hunter as Penelope.
It's Penny. It's
right?
great.
And
right.
she's got a bunch of kids instead of just one. So I don't mind that there's not one Telemachus.
No.
It's a bunch of little girls.
Right.
That's really clever.
It's clever. It's clever. And I mean, that movie but it goes to the side of comedy over pathos. But there's also real
both
emotional stakes involved.
That's right.
Yeah.
And this movie didn't have any.
So, final word from you. How about
I give it a 4 also.
Would you really?
Maybe a 3.5.
Okay.
But I want to quote from the Guardian review,
Yeah.
a guy named Tom Smale, criticizing the score of Ludwig Göransson, because I hated the music.
I hated
in this
the music
movie.
too.
He says, quote, "The music in Nolan's Odyssey is as well crafted and bloodlessly forgettable as the film itself. Noted lack of emotional heft and recognizable themes. Quote, succeeded in serving the film, but I do not think he has enhanced it." So
Yeah.
I don't expect the swelling chorus of happy ending in a major key and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But like the portrayal of Odysseus, the music just hammered on me for 3 hours.
It was rough.
I need some light relief.
Yeah.
I guess I want to add one final thing.
Yeah.
There were definitely times when it seemed to me like Nolan was trying to tell a tragedy rather than an epic.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want to make a tragedy, maybe he could make a tragedy much better than he could portray an epic.
Right.
Because they're not the same thing.
Right. Yeah. I think so. Have you seen the movie The Return?
No.
With Ralph Fiennes, which kind of tells the end of the Odyssey.
Oh, okay.
It's very good. And I think one of the things that makes it good is that the film is, we're not telling the whole story.
Right.
We're going to take this chapter and we're going to do that chapter well. And so I thought too is that like you said, if you're going to do an epic, do an epic.
Okay.
Right. But I guess my last final thought was
yes.
At the despite all of my misgivings with the film, anything that gets people talking about Homer,
it's good.
It's good.
It's a win.
It's a win.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
So when is Ad Nauseam going to hit the big screen?
I'm working on a script.
Yeah. Two humble podcasters. It could be like a coming of rage story.
Coming of rage. I'm going through casting.
Can I star? Who's going to play me?
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to cast Lazy Steve. Right.
That should be easy. I could just hear the critics. Lazy Steve. He phoned in his performance.
Exactly.
That's right.
That's right.
Who's going to play Local Will?
Local Will, Distant Ron. I mean, there's so many people.
There are.
Yep.
It's going to be a challenge.
I bet Local Will. I'm playing myself.
He probably would want to. Tom from Australia.
Yep.
The guy that lives rent free in my head.
That's right.
Who would play you, Winkle, in the screen adaptation of Ad Nauseam?
Gosh, I'd have to give that some serious thought.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce.
Yeah, I could kind of see that.
Really?
Sure.
Bruce Willis in his prime, or
I think he's past his acting
dotage,
days,
right.
but yeah, I think he's suffering from some serious illness. Poor guy. But yeah, you kind of have the same vibe, as the kids say.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah. But how about you?
Who would play me?
Yeah, who's got any
John
thought?
Malkovich.
I like it.
You don't think so?
No, I like it. I like
Think
it a
can
lot,
work?
actually. Yep.
I'd listen to him podcasting about the classics.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Dave, I think that wraps it up, right?
Yeah, eventually, at long last.
Yes, we got to get out of here.
We do.
But before we go,
yes,
I believe you could help our audience learn some Latin and Greek.
I can. If you want to read Menena Edith Apele Dio Akeleos, the first line of the Iliad, in Homeric Greek, take my course. Go to latinperdiem.com, check out Moss Method. Got some strong enrollment recently. People out there wanting to learn the Latins and the Greeks.
Nice.
Go to that website, enter coupon code 10plus, 10PLUS to get 10% off the entire order. We're going to run a back-to-school sale special. It's getting a little bit late for back-to-school, but if you're kind of slow on the uptake and you want to take your time, then you can still get a back-to-school deal. And that will be a 15% coupon, which we will announce in the show notes to this one.
Fantastic.
Also, we've got the CLB app. You want to learn some Latin, listen to some Latin, the Calvin's Latin Bible app, and the Moss Method for Greek in app format. Very inexpensive. The one, the other free. Check them out on the Apple and Android platforms.
Fantastic.
Am I leaving anything out?
No, well, we've got people to thank.
We got some people to thank.
Yes.
That's right.
Mishka, our wonderful engineer.
That's correct.
Always great thanks to her for turning this around quickly.
She takes our audio and turns it into pigs, something like that.
Something like that, and then brings us back into the disguises
what was
we wear.
It? Resume your disguise?
Yes, exactly. Resume your disguise.
Something like
Back
that.
into your disguise.
Back into your disguise. Thank you, Mishka.
Yeah, and then who's this guitarist guy?
Well, he's no Demodocus.
No.
Or is it Phemius?
Phemius is
that
the
the
bard.
other bard?
Yes.
He's far better than the guy whacking the stick on the planks
Without a doubt.
in movie. It's Jeff Sheets.
Jeff Sheets, yes.
Yes, with those screaming guitar riffs, thrill seeker at the beginning and the ending, the thrill of studying classical literature, and also around the ads, the bumper music is
Rush Hour.
Rush Hour.
That's right.
So rush out and patronize our supporters.
Yeah. Hey, listeners, if you want to get a shout out, you got a question, you got a suggestion, you got a complaint, you can write to us. Write to Dave at adnauseum.com, and you can write to me, Jeff, at adnauseum.com. Do not forget the V.
In both instances.
Yes.
We'd love to hear a shout out, suggestions for episodes, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I think the next one we're going to return to
Argonautica.
Argonautica.
We're in the middle of that series.
Hypsipyle don't lie.
That's right.
Fleece is the word.
Yes.
And so on and so forth. Jeff, you have, for this episode, the gustatory parting shot.
I do. Yes, this is the famous sausage simile from book 20 of the Odyssey.
Nice.
I'm reading from a translation by one George Herbert Palmer, and it goes thusly. As when a man near a great glowing fire turns to and fro a sausage full of fat and blood, anxious to have it quickly roast, so to and fro Odysseus tossed, and pondered how to lay hands upon the shameless suitors, he being alone, and they so many.
That's wonderful.
Isn't that the best?
I have so many times late at night, laid in bed, tossing to and fro like a sausage.
Exactly.
Haven't you?
I have.
Okay, thanks for listening.
Thanks.